guys, it's me, Lauren, with Bold Notion Quilting. I wanted to take a minute to show you how to put on a Texas Holdem bar on your APQS quilting machine. So if you're like me, you like quilting where your quilt top doesn't have any bars on top of it. So I want to show you how to remove that bar and how to place on the Texas Holdem bar that we see here. So typically with an APQS quilting machine, you've got, and with a lot of quilting machines, you've got this setup where you have your top bar, which holds the top of your backer. You've got your leveler bar, which holds the quilt top nice and level so the machine can get you a nice even stitch. You have your quilt top bar, which holds your quilt top, but you can see that I'm not using that here. And then you also have your belly bar, which holds the bottom of your backing. So because I don't like to quilt using this top bar, I'd like to remove it. So I want to show you how to do that. So with the APQS machine, you can get precision breaking. There's no clanks or clasps or cranks or any of that when you're quilting. So you can actually, break it to a precision point to wherever you want to stop. It just depends on where you want to turn it to stop it, and then you break it. If you don't break this bar, if you don't have this bar here to hold the break, then you won't be able to hold your backing steady so that you can quilt with ease. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take off this top bar and we're going to replace it with this break. This is called a Texas Holdem bar. You can get the Texas Holdem on boldnotionquilting.com. We have a couple of these in stock, and if you ever need them special ordered in, we can grab them for you. So before you get started, you want to make sure that you have the right tools. You're going to need the Texas Holdem bracket to replace your top quilting bar. You're going to need a 5 30-second Allen key so that we can remove our handle here so that we can easily slip our bar out of the holder. And to have a wrench that you can adjust the size so that you can make it the proper size of your nut right in here. And you'll want to make sure that you have an extra set of hands because these poles can be a little heavy and you might need a little bit of help to maneuver them. First things first, let's release the brake so that we can turn our handle up, and you can see this 5 30-second Allen key. You're going to want to stick your Allen key in there. If it is hard to break loose, be sure to put the top end in and use the handle as a lever. Once you've loosened it enough, you can then just pull it off the top. The next thing that you can do if you want to take it off first is you can loosen up your brake and take that off, but it's easy enough, honestly, to just pull this out without it. Next, we want to travel to the other side of our long arm and grab our 5/16 Allen key and put it right into the side of the pole. You're going to put it in, you're going to loosen this sucker up. I usually loosen it to where I can hand undo it. And then you're just going to loosen that bracket until it comes out. Be very careful. These are super greasy, and if you touch the grease and then touch your poles, it will stain them if you can't get it off with alcohol really quickly. Now you'll notice that there's nothing holding this pole up. So the next thing that I need to do is have my partner help me or grab it with 2 hands. Go ahead and move my machine out of the way, and then I'm just going to gently pull my pole out. My brake fell off, so no worries there. Now I'm just going to set my pole down. You're going to grab your wrench, okay, and you're going to loosen this. Okay, we're going to get it just loose enough to where we can slide this bracket, this fork, right underneath the nut. We're going to hand tighten the nut first. Now this is how I like to cheat and put my brake on. Your brake has to go on with the round side on the top bar and the flat side on the bottom. So we are just going to slide this on here. My red snappers are getting in the way. and then just slide this on there. Now I know that seems a little bit difficult, but honestly it's easier for me than tightening and untightening that screw that holds the brake. Now I'll hold it in place with the brake. So this isn't going anywhere, but I still need to tighten this nut here. So I'm going to take my wrench and I'm just going to pull it towards me so that I can tighten it as much as possible. We don't want this getting looser. When you brake, this bar will shift back and forth. Now you can see how using that Texas Hold'em allows for us to have the freedom of space without having that bar up and in the way while we're working. When you're a short cake like me, it comes in handy. And there you have it. That's how we change out our top bar for a Texas Hold'em bar so that we can quilt in wide open spaces and free float our tops. If you're a top floater, this is a fantastic option for you, but if you are not, it can be a little bit more difficult to work your magic with floating your quilt tops. Now, floating quilt tops, there is no right or wrong way to attach your quilt top to the frame. Floating is just one of those things that you kind of learn how to manipulate and maneuver the quilt top so that you have the most success possible without having weird draw problems that can happen. So if you're like me, you like wide open spaces to quilt. Being as short as I am, it often feels like I'm quilting over the bar, and that makes me feel less in control when I'm quilting. And I want to feel completely in control when I'm quilting. So that's one of the benefits to taking out that top bar and putting on that Texas Hold'em bracket. And thankfully, APQS allows us that option to be able to float our tops. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you need to store your pole once you're done with it, a great thing that you can do is to go ahead and put the screw and coupling back in, okay, so that you have two long edges poking out, and then this way your bar is now longer than your frame. So you can actually take some pool noodles and put them on either side of your frame and rest that bar underneath your frame, out of sight, out of mind, and you don't have to worry about where it is. All of your machine is still together. So thanks again. I'm Lauren with Bold Notion Quilting. For more tips, tricks, and tutorials, check out my YouTube channel. Click like and subscribe, and please feel free to share these helpful tidbits with your other APQS family and friends. Have a wonderful day, y'all, and happy quilting. Thanks for joining me. Bye!